In this video, I am going to show you how I made this beautiful bubble blouse. If you're interested, please keep on watching. If this is your first time here, kindly consider subscribing. And for my returning subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you. So first, I have my fabric here and my tools. I started with the back. So this fabric here is folded into two. This is the lining piece. It's folded into two. So it's using the shoulder measurement divided by two and then plus the sleeve length. So all in all, I have about 15.5 inches. And because it's the back piece, there's another 1.5 inch for zip, which is what I am marking here. So 1.5 inches all the way down for the zip allowance. Now for the band, the top has the band as you saw. So I have this fabric, I folded it into two widthwise, and then I folded again into two, like so. So this way we will not need to hem the lower part of this top at the end of the day. So I'm placing the upper part on top of it, making sure it's overlapping by half of an inch. I just want to place it together like so while I draft. I don't know, I don't have any reason. I just want to do it like this. So I'm marking the zip allowance on the band part of the top as well, as you can see. After that, so from now, from the shoulder to that down will be now English. From the shoulder to the end of this top, that's the length. It will be our actual length. It's overlapping by half inches on the at the middle, and then there's another extra half inch at the top that is for joining the shoulder. So all in all, we have our length here plus 1 extra inch. So from the zip line, we now have 15.5 inches for the width of this blouse. So I'm going to mark from the zip line, that's the shoulder divided by two, and then the sleeve length. So whatever your sleeve length is, for me, I use 7.5. So next, from the zip line again, I am marking my back neck width. I used 2.5 inches for the neck width, and then at this end I came down by 1 inch to slant the shoulder, and I connected back to that 2.5 inch mark. After that, I am marking the back neck depth. I used 1.5 inches for the neck depth of the back. I'm going to connect it like so and then curve it out. So 2.5 inches wide and then 1.5 inch deep for the back neckline. So this lining fabric will not allow me to be great. So from that slant, I am going to mark 10 inches for the sleeve opening, and then I will come in from that point by 1 inch again and connect back to the slant at the top. So the sleeve opening I want at the end of the day is 9. So I'm marking 10. The extra one is for seam allowance. Next, now I will mark the underbust, the shoulder to underbust. That is where the upper part stops. Then the remaining part is supposed to be to your half length, but I have about 5 inches extra for mine. You can take it to wherever you want it to be. Still making sure that this place is overlapped by half inch. From the zip line, I am marking my underbust round measurement divided by 4. I got 9 inches, and then I marked another 1.5 for allowance. Then on this hemline, you should mark your waist half length measurement divided by 4. But in my case, it was the same measurement, so I just took the same measurement straight down. So if your half length or where you want the blouse to stop is more than your underbust round, then you mark that particular measurement there, divide it by 4 and mark. So I am connecting back to the sleeve part, and then for the allowance on the sleeve part is 1 inch. So I made sure that I have 1 inch there, so I connected 2 points like so. Then on the hem part, I went in by 1 inch for the eliminating the zipper bulge. So I'm going to connect that back to the neckline. So from that corner I went in 1 inch, and then I will connect from that 1 inch point in a slant all the way to the neckline. So after that, this is it for the back, and then it's time to, oh, that's not it. So I'm replacing that 1 inch I went in by on the side seam, so we don't have any shortages when it's time to join to the front. So I'm cutting out the neck and then the shoulder slant and then the sleeve opening. Oh, the back piece first. I'm opening up the back piece all the way. Yeah, and then the sleeve opening now, and then the side seam, and the back is almost ready. So this is it for one part of the back piece. Next, now we are going to bring in our main fabric again. We'll set the band piece aside. So this main fabric now is folded into two. So it should be like 3 times the width of your actual fabric. So for me, I just use what I had left. So I'm going to place the back piece, that's the lining piece, on top of it like so, making sure that it is aligned on the side and on the hem. So I had about 29 inches on fold here, which is more than the lining piece, but it can be wider, but I don't think it should be. It should be at least two times the width of the lining piece. At least that way it will give the ruffles will look good. So I'm cutting out the side and then the neckline, making sure that the main fabric is the same with the lining, at least on the zipper side and on the neck side. So I also make sure that it is the same on the lower part so that the length is not longer. It shouldn't be longer. It should be exactly the same length. It is just the width that we need it to be wider. So I'm also cutting out the upper part, that's the shoulder slant, a little bit like so. And then we'll take it back to the extreme end, align it together again, and then cut out the shape. So make sure that everything is aligned, and then we'll cut out the side at this extreme. So we have the sides and the sides and the center the same, but there's excess fabric in the middle, which is what we need. So I'm just making a mark so we can identify the wrong side. Next, now I will now place this main fabric piece on the lining, right sides together. I will go sew the neckline using 1/2 inch and also the zip line using 1/2 inch. Then I'll make sure that the sleeve opening part is aligned. I'll also use 1/2 inch for that. Same for the second back piece. So the same thing, right sides together on the neck side. I'll go sew 1/2 inch, sew the zip line down, and then to the side also join the sleeve opening with 1/2 inch. And then for the band pieces also, we are going to sew the zip allowance part of it. So now we have two. Remember, we folded into two. So now we have two. So we're going to go sew 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. That's the zip side. The side seams remain the way that they are. So next it's time to cut the front. I still have this fabric here now, folded into two like so. I have about 5 inches. And then I'm folding again. So for you, it may be whatever you have left from your underbust to the length of your blouse. So after folding that into two, this is the lining piece for the upper part. It's also folded into two. Like I said, the entire width I'm using is 15.5 inches. So just like we did the back, I will make sure that the band and the upper part are overlapping by 1/2 inch. Make sure they're overlapping by half inch, and then it's time to mark. So I start with the neckline, which is 2.5 inches wide, and then on the open end I go down by 1 inch and connect in a slant like so. After that, I mark the neck depth for the front. I used 3 inches, so 2.5 inches wide and then 3 inches deep. So I made a mark like so, and then I am going to curve out like this. Next, now from the side I will come down by 10 inches for the sleeve opening, which is the same as the front. The back, come in by 1 inch and then connect back into a slant to the shoulder line. After that, I will locate my under bust, which is where the lining is stopping. There's an extra half inch there for joining to the lower part. So I will mark my under bust round divided by 4, which is 9 inches for me, and then I marked 1.5 again for allowance. The same thing on the length, so it could be your half length or your measurement could be more, so you divide it by 4 and mark it, then mark another 1.5 inches. For me it's the same, so I marked the same 9 inches on the hem line. So I'm connecting back to the side like so, and then I'm marking the 1 inch allowance for the sleeve opening, and I will connect this line to it like so. So this is it for the back. Now it's time to cut. I cut out the neckline. I am cutting out the shoulder slope, and then the sleeve opening, and then the side seam. Okay, so after cutting, this is what we have for the front now. So the band, we can keep it aside for now. I notched the center so that we know where it is. We'll be needing that later. And then we have the main fabric here also for the upper part. I am placing it like so. So I forgot to mention this upper part stopped at the underbust. So the whole ruffle thing is directly under your underbust. So I just, this upper lining piece is from the shoulder to the underbust plus 1 inch. This green plain fabric is my shoulder to underbust plus extra 1 inch. But then I made sure that it was overlapping the other part by half of an inch. So there's half inch of the shoulder for joining the shoulders together later. So I went ahead to cut out the neckline. I aligned it just like we did the front, making sure the folded ends are matching, and then I bring it to the side also and cut out the same shape on the side. So I'm just making sure that this thing is properly aligned so that I don't have any shortages at the end of the day. So I'm cutting out the side, and I also went ahead to slant the rest of the shoulder. After that, I will open this up. This is the right side facing me now. I'll place the lining right side over it, and then I will go sew that using half inch, then come back to this sleeve opening part and also sew using half of an inch. The same thing for the opposite side using half inch. After sewing all the pieces, this is what we have. This is the center back. I've sewn the lining part, the zip side and the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead now and notch the neckline. I'm just making cut very close to that seam line, but I'm not cutting the thread. So I'll turn this to the right side now and go iron, making sure that everything is smooth. This is one side of the back, and then the other side of the back piece also we're going to do the same thing. Cut that corner, notch the neckline, turn it to the right side and go give it a good press. Next, now this is the band for the back piece. We're also going to turn it to the right side and go and iron it so that everything is smooth. This is one part of the band. This is the second part. Same thing. Turn to the right side and then go give it a good press. You can also add interfacing to this band to give it more structure, but I did not. I advise you do that if you can. So for the front also, I am notching the neck all the way around like so, and then I will turn it to the right side and iron it, making sure that everything is nice and smooth. So after ironing, this is what we have. This is the band for the back. We are going to place it right sides together and mark 1 inch, which is the new zip allowance. So after turning it, we now have only 1 inch for our zip allowance. So we're going to go sew that down together, and then we are going to also sew the zip line for the upper part of the back piece. So this is it here. I will mark 1 inch all the way down, and then I will place the two back pieces right sides together, and I will go and sew. After sewing, I will open it apart and iron so that that place is flat and it is well creased, just like this. So after that, I am going to mark from the zip line. I'll mark my bust under bust measurement again divided by 4 up and down, and then I will connect. I turn to this side also, starting from the zip seam. I marked quarter of my under bust measurement, and then I made a mark. So we're going to be sewing on those marks, but first we are going to place the back on top of the front band, and then we are going to go sew the two together. But before then, we are going to still take out 1 inch from the band of the back. This is to further eliminate the zip bulge so that there's no single bulge whatsoever. So from there, we'll link back to the side seam like so, and then cut out. You can use 1 inch, you can use half, you can use 0.75 depending on what you want. For me, I used 1 inch. So I'm placing this like so, making sure that the midpoints are matching. The midpoint of the front and the midpoint of the back are sitting exactly on top of each other, and then we'll go and sew on those chalk markings. For the main fabric now, I will go and make pleats on it like so, like making the lining piece and the main fabric piece the same using pleats. You can use gathers, I prefer pleats, so I'll just pleat that. Then on the lower part, I will align it together like so. First, make sure that I am leaving 1.5 inches, which is the allowance that I added, and then from there I will pleat the remaining part into that space. The same thing for this other side, make sure I have 1.5 inches, and then I will pleat the remaining parts into that space. After that, this is what we have. This is what the back piece is looking like for now. Alright, so next I will place it lining to lining on the front piece. So the right side of the lining is facing the right side of the lining of the front piece. I'll just pin them together on the shoulder. I don't know if you understand. The lining piece is facing the lining just the same way you wear it. If you are to wear this is how it will be. So I'm matching the shoulders on the matching the seams on the shoulder, matching the shoulder parts, and I'm pinning them down like so. So it's only the lining. The lining part is exactly the width of this back piece now, since we have made the ruffles. So after pinning it on the shoulder, I am going to turn it back to the wrong side. Now we now have the front piece in between the no we now have the back piece in between the front lining and the front main fabric. So we're going to go now and pleat again, now sewing front and back together on the shoulder. After that, this is what we have. The front and the back are now one on the shoulder. This is what we have. We did that so that it will be neat on the inside and we don't have any raw edges on the shoulder. The next now is time to ruffle the down part of the front. So I'll make sure that the center fronts are matching, the midpoints are matching, and then just like the back, leave 1.5 inches on the side and then make pleats from there and leave 1.5 on the other side as well. After that, this is what we have. The blouse is coming together already. Next now, it is time to join the sides. So go ahead now, fold it back to the right side. So it is right sides together now, pushing the excess fabric out of the way. We don't want to hold any ruffles. And then we are going to pin the sides like so, making sure that it's flat. There's no ruffle piece hanging. You know that the main fabric is bigger than the lining, so it's easy to catch a piece that you're not supposed to. So make sure that place is smooth, then pin them together. I'm using my hand to make sure that there are no ruffles on the in the way. So after pinning from the shoulder on the sleeve opening, I marked 9 inches, and then I marked 1.5, which was the allowance we left initially, and then I will connect like so. I'll do the same thing on the opposite side also. Make sure that everything is aligned properly. I will pin in place and then using 1.5 inch on the underbust point and then 9 inches on the sleeve opening part, we'll connect both points and then go and sew it together using the lines as a guide. After that, this is what we have. So this is the band and this is the upper part. Next now is time to open up the zip, and then we will join the band piece to the upper part of the blouse. So I'm going to open up this zip allowance now. First, I will match the center back like so and pin. Then I will match the side seams. Make sure that the side seams are sitting exactly on top of each other. I will pin those in place and then fold the seam allowances out of the way. Fold the seam allowances out of the way like so. I just use pin now to hold them in place and then locate the other side seam and match with the side seam of the band like so. I'll pin them together and again fold the seam allowances out of the way so that you don't catch them. This way is going to relax better when you wear it. Lastly, I will join the other center back together and pin. So we'll take this down to the machine and go and sew, joining the upper part and the front part together using half of an inch. You can go ahead and weave that once you're done so that everything is clean on the inside, after which I added my zipper and this blouse is ready. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave your questions in the comment section below, like, share and subscribe. Bye.